Supervisor Vastola,
Here.
Councilman O'Connor,
Here.
Councilman Stad is absent.
No,
Councilman,
he's on Zoom.
oh, he's on Zoom. Hi, Mark. Councilman Gronwell,
Here.
Councilman Crowley.
Present.
So he is present via Zoom, but he won't be able to vote yet.
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh, salute to the flag. Carol is going to lead our salute to the flag.
Who? Me?
Yes. I
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Carol. Does someone want to approve the minutes for May?
I'll make a motion to approve the May meeting minutes.
I'll second. Those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Thank you. Like to make a motion to open a public hearing for local law number 2, authorizing our town board and other public bodies to use video conferencing.
I'll move it. I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
And are there any comments from anyone on local law number 2? Authorizing town board, other public bodies of the town to use video conferencing technology to participate in public meetings. We're essentially amending the town code book. Is all we're doing, just a simple procedure. We just need to formalize it. And it seems to be the easiest and cleanest way to do it.
This motion just for town board members?
No, it's
Town
all,
board and all planning
all-
board and ZBA. Yep. All public meetings.
Okay.
Yep. Good question. And I have a copy for you too, if you want.
That's fine.
Okay.
Does it include any parameters, like not voting if you're not in attendance with your member or neighbor?
It doesn't, and typically at the county level, I had to zoom in on a meeting and I was not able to vote. So it depends on how it's written, but typically you're not, like Mark is zooming in, our council member Mark is zooming in right now, and you typically can't vote. It was more during COVID that you were allowed to do that. That's my
Could-
understanding.
I'm sorry, could somebody turn the microphone on that's for the audience? So I can hear. Thank you, Ted.
Is that specified in the revised law, or should it be?
So we could look, because my understanding is this allows us to allow members of the voting body to come in via Zoom and to vote as long as there's a quorum physically present.
That is my understanding as well.
Right?
And that's how the local law is written that you guys should have gotten a copy of.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
And the resolution will be posted online. Yep. Any other comments? Otherwise, we'll close the public hearing. I'll move to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
I'll second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That carries. And we're now back to our regular meeting. We'll do the resolution. I've got it on page 3. We'll do that later. Privilege of the floor.
So I had a action item from the March meeting to look at prevailing wage. And everything looks fine in terms of the cleaner that we use, pest control, and my one observation would be the gardener. Prevailing wage for a gardener is $18.45 if, and you know, this is where you can debate it. If you pay the person or organization more than $1,500 a year, which we will not.
Correct.
However, I would like to advocate that be considered for the gardener next year.
Okay. Yeah. Communications, there were a number of them and they're all listed. Many of them were emailed. A few hard copies. The big one is Richmond Rec. Sandy Bottom, July 14th, pizza and wings if you're a Candice, Richmond or Bristol resident. Just be there at 11 o'clock and reserved by June 30th. Anything on communications? Reports, town clerk.
Paying to the supervisor for the general fund, $963. For water billing, $3,769.66. DEC decals, $162.50. And animal population control fund, $10 for a total disbursement of $4,905.16. The only other thing I have to report is our Town Clerks Association will be meeting this month with Krista Bolt, the Ontario County Administrator. He's going to talk to us about handling First Amendment audits. And that's all I have.
Excellent. I'll make a motion to approve the town clerk's report.
I'll second it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Thank you, Eileen. The historian, I had a meeting with the historians on May 9th. And we are moving forward with looking at getting them someone to help out. And I made a speech on Memorial Day and looked for some volunteers to help research. And I got a young lady who's helped out and we're going to be moving forward with historian, and stay tuned to that. So that's the historian report. CEO report.
We issued 9 building permits, leaving 2. Short-term rentals, I managed to get 3 done around my desk. And then we had a series of permits come in, short-term rental permits come in. The 2 violation letters went out. And I wanted to add, because I usually get a question about how many total SDRs we have. So right now, a total, we have 23, and I have 8 sitting on my desk, waiting for approval for certain reasons.
And have they all had their first inspection?
No, the problem I'm running into with first inspections is that it specifies in the law that after, like if you don't pass it the first time, the second time I go out, the fee is $50 less, and a lot of people get frustrated and angry with that. So I try to make sure through communications and email that they have everything done. So I don't have to come back. I believe that's all I have, but I have been hearing rumblings about the short-term rentals becoming a problem. Other areas, counties and the state might be addressing certain parameters and laws surrounding it.
Yes.
So Bristol just approved their short-term rental code, and they've actually limited the total number of short-term rentals in town.
That's what I've been hearing, that a lot of towns are putting a cap on it, and just because some of the smaller towns are becoming overrun by
Statewide issue. It's slowly being addressed. Came up at a meeting today. Okay, thank you. Planning board, Ted Maywood.
Yes, the planning board met on May 22nd. We did not have any applications to process. So we did begin some discussion around the comprehensive plan updates, with needs, and just getting around a few ideas of how we might get started. It'll take a couple of months before we really even get our feet on the ground. So we'll report as progress goes.
That's good. We're moving forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. ZBA, there was no report. Highway Superintendent Jeremy.
Okay. So we're in full swing of on construction mode here. We finished stabilizing the shoulder along the ditch line on Old Westlake Road North as part of our capital improvement project. We've helped the towns of East Bloomfield, West Bloomfield with some of their chip sealing projects. And in return, they came and assisted us down on Old Westlake Road. We did our FDR grind down there with calcium injection. And 2 weeks after that, they came back, Midland, our asphalt contractor came back and we did a double shot of oil and stone for the wear surface. So that road is complete, minus sweeping the excess stone off. We took what was an 18-foot road and turned it into a 19-foot wide road, 19'6" in some places where we had the room. Fire hydrants and water valves kind of got in the way. While Midland was here, we put another shot of chip seal on the upper portion of Kratsley Hill that we mixed paved last year. Roadside mowing. He's down at the end of 36, got to make his turn and come back, and the first round of roadside mowing will be complete. So he's, I said 80% in what I said out to you, he's probably about 90 at this point. So we've been up on Tipples Road, doing our prep for that portion of the capital improvement projects for this year. We're gonna be doing a 4-inch cold mix overlay on that, which is scheduled for the second week in July. So we've also been around town doing various ditching. Purcell Hill, Candice Lake Road, we had to replace a couple pipes while we were down there. Basically, when we get to a driveway pipe, if it still has the old metal pipe in there, 9 times out of 10, the bottoms are rotted out, so we're replacing those while we're right there working. And then up at what used to be Wendell Coy's house up on Middle Road. So we redid that road two years ago, and it's always been an ongoing issue with either surface water coming down the driveway and subsurface water. And it's been destroying the road over there. So we went and dished across the driveway, and we put in a 6-inch perforated pipe embedded in wash stone. Try and collect some of that water and get it off into the ditch so that it stops destroying the road over there. We've all been to the safety refresher class that the county puts on. This was Sherman's last class because he's retiring here. And WQIP for this year. I ordered all the Fleximat and it was delivered last week. Staged up out behind the barns, ready for us to get to work installing it. A couple nice days and in between road projects.
So would you be, between you and Katie, be sure and get some pictures?
Yep.
As you put that in?
Yep.
Because I'd like to do an article when you're all done.
Okay.
Various stages would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I've already spoke with her and I gave her preliminary expenditures, so she took it to her board, so they already have money set aside. So once we're completed, I can turn my vouchers into her and we can get reimbursed for that. And that's all I got.
Megan will use it.
I've got one question of Jeremy, and it has nothing to do with your department. But have you heard anything from Ontario County about the milling County Road 37 from the valley up?
It's not gonna be this year.
Not gonna be there.
From what I've heard, it's gonna be a 3-phase project and I believe it starts next year.
Next.
And I was told that they were starting somewhere around in here and going that way a little ways and then doing From here down to Valley Inn as a second phase, and then the far end as the third phase.
As I had heard earlier in the spring, they were gonna start project or first phase this year, but obviously not. But
From what I've heard, it's next year.
good to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Pretty High Lake. Terry.
Well. The lake level was extremely high for the last 2 months. And we've talked about this before, but the town of Richmond has been trying for 18 months to get a DEC permit. Remove shale deposits out of the outlet creek. And they have not succeeded yet. They have tried everything and we have tried to help them. The lake level is currently still 3 or 4 inches above the weir. Today's rain is not helping. So after 2 months, we're still 3 or 4 inches high. Just so everybody knows, I've been watching this for 20 years. Typically, when the lake is 2 feet high, like it was in early April, it takes about 3 weeks to get down to normal. We're at 2 months and we're still out there. That is the big one. On a more positive note, the water clarity is running about 3 feet higher than last year. Over the last 4 or 5 weeks, which is good. And if you're curious about lake level device, I included the URL. About a month ago, Dorothy and I got the lake level device going again, recovering from Verizon Wireless terminating support for 3G, so now it's working on 4G. And the question of the spring that I got inundated with is why we got so much curly leaf pondweed. So I did a little research and I learned that curly leaf pondweed is unique. It germinates in the late fall. It will grow through the winter, depending on the ice cover and the amount of snow. And it will explode once we have ice on it. In the winter of 2023, we had 4 weeks of ice cover. In the winter of 2022, we had 10 contiguous weeks. Ice out in 2023 was February 15th. Ice out in 2022 was March 31st. So 4 weeks of ice cover versus 10, 5 weeks earlier ice out explains the reason why. Now, the good news is it's already starting to die out naturally. So you should be seeing some relief. Well, that's sort of the highlights, lowlights, whichever. That's what I have.
Thank you. The assessor's report was submitted and it was an extensive report, a little more detailed than usual, but thought you would enjoy the extra details, but they were hard at work doing their job. Water district operations, Keith.
So there's nothing out of the ordinary to report for the month of May. Very similar to 2022, when we pumped 774,000 gallons. This year we pumped 799. The other thing that you'll notice is the monitoring equipment was put back in service on the 17th and 19th. So other than that, like is normal.
Did they take extra precautions for lake districts now, or did they just fix it back to where it was?
So what they did, they asked the town to order, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christopher.
Yep.
Both the meter and the whole.
Correct.
circuit
Yep.
board. So that we have a backup the next time this happens.
We already did.
I asked one.
No, we already,
Got hit again,
no, we already had the two systems.
right?
So one's kind of backing up the other. That's why that's in
Also-
place. Like
I
that.
also asked Dave Rowley if there was lightning protection equipment on the tower, and there is. Water towers are a lightning draw. So the fact that we got hit, you know, they weren't surprised. It's not normal, but they also weren't surprised. And as Ted and I both observed, it's a unique sound when it happens.
Really? I'm not.
Well, let me put it to you this way. At three AM that morning, Dorothy and I heard the lightning strike and we were worried that it was Rick's house. Cause it felt close. I mean, it was close.
Rick slept right through it.
But I looked over there and that looked okay.
That was okay.
The water tank didn't enter my mind, but
Yeah, we did not.
Next
have to
time.
call the
Yeah,
fire
yeah.
department.
There will be a next time.
There will be.
Interesting. Well, thank you. Submit the financial reports and also the details on transfers that were made.
So we have March and April that we held over.
Yes.
And thank you for, you know, letting me do my, inspection. Both those months, look great. So I would like to motion to approve both the March and April financial report from the supervisor.
I second that and I would like to thank the supervisor for putting the cash and time deposits on here, so. I noticed that right away.
Good, good, good. Communication support. Yep, yep. The details really good to have. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, that carries.
Okay, for the month of May. Okay.
Yep.
Just, you know, like I say, I do, look, at these things. The beginning balance for May is different from the ending balance from April. And it's because of the, 40150, deficit balance in the capital water project. So that's been fixed, but it needs to, be in the opening balance.
Okay.
Other than that, I would motion to approve the finance report.
Second,
Already voted on it.
no, this is for the last report. We did
For
the
the
two reports that were,
correction of-
we needed further review.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay, that carries. Thank you. All right, unfinished business, Candidates Hollow Cemetery is improving. I'd still like to see it a little better. Did you get a chance to go over there?
I go over there every year.
Okay,
Uh,
what was your opinion? Compared to what it was?
It still needs a lot of work.
I agree.
It has always needed a lot of work and they had a seminar through Lewis County and I missed it on abandoned cemeteries.
Correct.
And I'm gonna follow up on that because the Bald Hill Cemetery, Candidates Hollow, one up off from Ross Road, all could use some attention.
Yes, can you follow up on that? That would be
Yeah.
excellent, and I will support you every way.
That will be one of my after retirement from the town board projects.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I'm gonna have the landscape company get it a little more in shape. They've done a decent job, because we had essentially wood on headstones, not acceptable.
Yeah, trees.
We've got some headstones that are just getting ready to fall into the access road.
I'd like to back up. Don't we have some budget transfers to approve?
No,
No?
we do a blanket motion. We don't have to. That's just something we do. But good question.
All right.
Yes. So going forward, basically, we're gonna get that much better shape.
can the landscape company do the tree removal that needs to be done? That's gotta be done by somebody else, right? Is that
What are you talking
part of the
about?
tree in the cemetery?
Usually, town, when we have a tree fall down in that particular cemetery, the highway department is usually taking
Okay.
care of it, but I know for a fact several times Craig Dietz from Dietz Construction and Honey has gone up and cleaned it up too. So. I don't know if he's done it gratis or if he's. I don't think he's ever built a town for it. But then again, we look into the aspect of liability.
Exactly.
Well, the current company's bonded and insured. We already have a nice relationship with them. They'll be glad to get it even further, but it's much better than when I first saw it, I can tell you that.
Who's doing the work there?
Quality Landscape, Joel.
Steve Krieger. Thank you.
I don't think his name's Steve. I think his name's Joel.
It is.
Yes.
I think it's, they might have bought it from Steve.
Okay. Some good news to report. The highway department kind of spoke with me regarding health benefits. And I found a company that was able to get a nice benefit for the town and employees, saving us couple, say $2,700 a year in FICA taxes and it's potential for more, and giving our employees at least another $11,000 in benefits so far. And that costs the town nothing and we benefit. And it's also getting them more in tune with wellness programs. So it's a win-win for our town. Unfortunately, I don't qualify. I don't make enough to engage in that benefit. But maybe someday that'll change, but not anytime soon. New business, annually, we've got a couple ones we do, the municipal accounting software. I'd like to block the first two resolutions, the public hearing setting it to override the tax levy for next month and the municipal accounting software program renewal for Williamson Law Book. I'd like to make that motion to block the first two.
I'll move it.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Resolution to appoint Carol Jokey, ZPA alternate. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Thank you, Carol, for your service to the town. She serves on a number of areas. Next one's the Honeywell Lake Aquatic Vegetation Program. Betsy's still here, and I can just say this, that we've already started training for a new employee. And Betsy, thanks for hanging on so long. I don't think we have any questions, but if we did, she's here. We're moving forward and I'd like to look for a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve Betsy's resolution for seasonal employees.
I'll second.
Those in favor? Aye. Yeah, that carries. Thank you. We got more CHIPS funding. We've got resolution to just for budget modification. That one we did need a little approval for. And Jeremy's right on it. So I'd like to move for its adoption.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget modification.
Second,
I'll second.
those in favor?
Aye.
And we talked about this earlier, adopting local law number 2, authorizing town board and other public bodies to use video conferencing technology to participate in public meetings.
Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second. Those in favor?
Aye.
New business is our parking lot upgrade. We've looked at the bids. And we'll just discuss those briefly. The biggest item was the simplification and the turnkey approach from Rustin. That's what I liked about Rustin. Jeremy helped out quite a bit with that. Do you want to talk about what your research said with our bidders?
Okay, so originally we put out the RFP for on this rear part, the rear portion of the parking lot is going to be a 3-inch overlay. On the front portion, it has substantial base issues. So I had them put out the RFP to pulverize grind that. So we can use the existing material there, including the asphalt that we paid for last year to do the Band-Aid. So with the 4 bids, AG Paving and Asphalt, they came back with a complete box out and removal of materials from that first section. Mostly because they don't do that pulverized grinding. And Rustin and Suco did come back in compliant with the RFP. Like Chris was saying, Rustin is 100% turnkey with their work except from trucking of the asphalt by the town highway trucks. Suco is relying on labor from the highway department to regrade and compact after they pulverize. Also, trucking of asphalt. And their bid does not include striping of the parking lot for their parking spots. Which Rustin's does. That's figure probably around $1,000 right there. And it's hard to get now, and whoever above and beyond the town would hire to do that would obviously have to be prevailing.
And the
wage.
biggest thing with the turnkey is there's no finger pointing. We're not, and we got a prevailing wage issue if we use a lower bidder. And the fact that one company does everything, we know where to go if there's an issue. That seems pretty straightforward to me.
Our situation is we have to go with best value, not necessarily the lowest bidder.
Well,
And,
the thing is, we'll actually spend more if we use a lower bidder because we'd have to hire or pay our own employees more than we're paying them to do the work. And then if something goes wrong, Suco will say, well, geez, you guys did that.
So Jeremy, was Rustin the only compliant or fully compliant?
Fully compliant, yes.
That's
And
another rationale in my mind. So Rustin was the only fully compliant.
Correct.
response. Just trying to make sure I got it.
And Rustin specializes in parking lots more so than Suco does. Suco is the road contractor that I use.
The other thing is, and I was discussing this with Kate too, is they're such a large company, they have multiple pieces of identical equipment. If something goes wrong with a piece of equipment, we're not gonna wait around. They've got another piece that would do it. They could easily swap it out, get the thing done.
So Rick, have you ever done business with Rustin Paving?
I have,
And
good reports.
Hmm?
Good reports.
We just had them do the Legion down in Honey.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Looks great.
Yeah, they did Honeoye Fire Hall last fall as well.
I'm finding it frustrating though, you only got one compliant bidder.
Fully compliant, yep. That pulverization is a pretty specialized aspect. So there's not, I mean, it's huge, a huge machine that not a whole lot of people actually have access to.
That's the only solution to fix it.
That is not the only solution. A complete box out would work. But by doing a complete box out, you're removing all of the existing material,
In
some
Holly.
of which was a load and a half of asphalt that we just paid for last year. You know, you figure $1,800 for that.
So the other thing I mentioned, and I've not done the research yet, but we are now coordinated with Clean Energy Communities program. And there's potential for grant funding if we get enough clean energy credits. And reusing that asphalt out there is a much cleaner and greener approach to redoing that parking lot. And as a result, either the town or the county may get additional green energy credits as a result of it. So I don't know if that's possible. But we are looking at significant green energy credits, and I wanted Birch to hear this from the HVAC. And we're trying to add to that
Was milling considered?
Milling only fixes surface problems. It doesn't actually do anything to rebuild and stabilize the base. Which is what the major issue in that front part of the parking lot is the base.
When this building was constructed, that was, everything went with low bidder. And there was a lot of quality control issues. And parking lot was one of them.
Stays are open, sorry.
If it requires a motion, I'd like to make a motion that we go with Russian paving and get this project completed.
A second.
What's in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That carries. That's a win. Quality will get this town hall looking great. Make it town hall great again. It already is great. Even better.
So when you get a hold of, them and see what we need to do next.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great job. And Kate and Jeremy, thank you for moving that process forward.
So I'm gonna need a resolution for that then, if we're approving it tonight.
I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yep.
So on that note, the climate smart communities, essentially conscious initiatives. We're gonna have a town board meeting in August 14th. And at 6:45, there'll be a presentation to our community on what we've already done and what we're doing. Next month, I'll be presenting a resolution for the town board for us to move forward with these efforts. And that'll be in next month's packet.
Thank you.
Yep. And so there's certain things we've got to do to move forward with that. And one of the first pieces is engaging with the two entities. Well, again, one's funded by DEC, one is funded by NYSERDA, and in concert, there's grant monies available to us. And these folks work on our behalf at no cost to the town. I hate to say it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So I'll have that resolution next month, and I see us passing a number of towns quickly. We have not done that in Ontario County yet, and I'm working on that as well.
Are we gonna
Be official.
advertise that at all? The fact that he's coming to,
Well, that's why it's out in August. Yeah, yes, yep,
okay,
yep.
okay.
Were we gonna meet with the DEC entity?
Oh, they're coming here August 14th.
Okay, so they'll
Yep,
be here.
for a
at
presentation.
that meeting, okay,
Yep.
You're talking about that second group.
yeah,
Yeah, the second group was knocking on our door too. The people with the EV charging station.
Oh, that's a separate thing. And yeah, I want to discuss that because I want to talk about the sales component.
Well,
Yes.
I wouldn't fast track that. The industry is under evolution. And it looks like Tesla's gonna become the standard.
Ford and General
So I
Motors
wouldn't wanna,
already
I wouldn't wanna
adopted.
get too far in front of that. Wouldn't wanna put something in it and have a year later have it be.
Well, we're gathering information. We're gathering information.
Yeah.
And now's a great time with our
Just
comprehensive plan
expressing a
going.
concern.
Absolutely,
That
absolutely,
industry is evolving rapidly.
absolutely.
And for example, I drive by there multiple times every day. Baldale Automotive put a EV charging station in there, and I've never once seen an EV connected to it. Not once.
And then to add a little salt into the rub. He was supposed to get reimbursed for it and he had to pay for the whole thing out of pocket. Hasn't gotten any reimbursement.
Just
From NYSERDA or
I just don't
anything.
think we should be fast tracking this.
Interesting. We could even have a discussion with him as well. Well,
To be continued.
to be continued. Okay, so again, that resolution will be drafted. Approval of the bills.
I'll make a motion.
There's a second.
Second,
Those in favor?
I,
That carries. We also have propane bids.
So
I have thoughts on that too, but I'm gonna listen first.
well, it kind of looks like Noco's the front runner on this?
About a 7.5% difference. I think Valley, I'd throw, I was gonna say throw Valley right out, but because they didn't respond much for the employee side of it as well. You know, whatever we can do to help employees, I think that brings NOCO and Superior back to the front.
The difference with the NOCO and Superior is that if you're not using, you're gonna pay a lot more.
Correct.
Which, when you factor that in, Superior's not that bad of a deal. And Valley Field, you're looking at the same things. So, if Superior, that's what we have presently, correct?
Right.
Yes.
If we go with Coco, then we gotta switch your tank out too.
Yeah, I think we should just keep the status quo and say with
I agree
Superior,
with John.
I love it. Thank you.
less paper.
I thought I was gonna have to sell it. That's great.
I'll put that in the form of a motion if it needs to be.
All right, that's great. Wow,
You make a motion, John, and I'll second.
I thought this meeting was gonna be long. Those in favor?
I,
Aye, like,
What's the full rate? Security. Employee rate is
214.9 for the town and 229.9 for town employees.
yeah, and board members,
That's my value.
many. I should use, I gotta take advantage.
Now, you do have to, you have to be signed up for it as a town employee or a board member.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
be on the list.
he's on it. Ted's on it. He's been a great advocate for the planning board.
And
They,
then
they should have a complete list.
they do.
Yeah.
Are they also waiving the $95 fees for employees?
Or 39. Mine
It
says
was
39.
39 for Griffith and Valley too.
Well, that didn't make it here, so I don't know.
They have been waiting.
I know they have.
I think that might know the shit, but.
They've always waived
They've
it in
always
the
waived it,
past,
yeah.
but we want to get it in writing.
Exactly. Can we make sure that you just for first time through this?
Just right in there, you're gonna sweat. Works for me.
What's that window?
Yeah.
I just have a quick question about again, what do we use the propane for?
We use it at the pump house to heat the building. Jeremy uses it.
Barnes.
Yeah, to heat the barn.
And we have a
Well, we use it.
huge
for
tank in the ground out here
Yeah.
that we've got to figure out what we're going to do with that.
Still use propane in the courthouse.
Yes.
Or is that
Sure
all
you do.
hot water based?
No, we still have one unit in the courtroom, so the rest is.
Okay.
The reason I was questioning, just reading the governor's budget plan, like, 2030, it's gonna be zero.
We're done, right?
So I didn't know if there was a plan in place to replace whatever we use.
Yeah, never happened. Never happened. Might as well try and compete.
Stay tuned.
Those guns, too.
Stay tuned. Well,
Privilege of the floor.
privilege of the floor.
I have a privilege of the floor. Carol,
Motion-
since you're here, I need to do an oath of office for you for the zoning board resolution.
Okay, I'll stop in.
Makes it easier. Thank you. Good thinking, Eileen. We'll put that in the minutes.
Does she know that they have a meeting Wednesday?
She does now.
But she doesn't know if she's supposed to show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
You're
yes.
official.
That's part of being an alternate. Yeah, in case someone doesn't show up. Yep.
We're gonna let you go that easy.
So it's always 2 days, 2 days after the town board meeting if they need to have a meeting.
Or
Yeah.
before, depending on when
Joe
that,
will always
Wednesday-
contact you too.
it's not always 2 days after. It depends on when that Wednesday falls in the month.
Thank you.
Second. Privilege of the floor.
No further action. I move to adjourn.
A second.
Those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Mark, thank you. Have a good one. Zap you out soon.
Hey, no, there you are. No,